Listen up. You better believe that that empty echo you keep hearing in your bank account is coming from the words rattling around in your head. Because here's the truth. Money is an echo of value, your value. Hey guys, Brittney here, Cut the BS, Build the Dream. And today I am torching one of the oldest business myths alive, that the hardest grinder always wins the biggest purse. I'm Brittney Kosov, single mom that moved from public educator to business owner over the last few years. And it's my goal to help other dreamers cut the noise, that BS that's preventing them from making the next big move. So let's dive in. You know, hustle does matter, of course, but only after you upgrade the thoughts steering the hustle, because you're not broke. You're simply broadcasting broke on every mental radio wave you own. And so the goal is change the station and the deposits change with it. Back when I was juggling two jobs, full-time school librarian and marathon nights in real estate, I would wear exhaustion like a medal. I thought overtime was the golden ticket until I caught myself muttering, I'm so stretched, or I just hope this all works out. I want to make ends meet. I want another commission. And those things were like a closed door. The moment I swapped it for I'm a seven-figure CEO in training, the reticular activating system in my brain snapped into action, and it started spotlighting opportunities that I'd stepped over for months. That's what the RAS does. The reticular activating system, also known as the RAS, is this pencil-thin lattice of neurons that snakes up the brainstem and plugs directly into every major lobe of the cortex. You have to think of it like the brain's chief gatekeeper. And we get billions of sensory impulses hitting us each second. But the RAS decides out of the 11 million thoughts that we have, which 40-ish bits make it through to our conscious awareness. And so there's a lesson there. Every fortune is drafted in the mind long before it hits the ledger. Every time you affirm, I'm a seven-figure CEO in training, and then you visualize the bank notification, you're not just indulging in fantasy. You're installing a search algorithm in your midbrain. The RAS then is going to light that up with a subject line that says, hey, JV deal, or the podcast episode that's a high ticket offer, or a casual comment from a stranger that contains the next breadcrumb to your success. Change the input, which is your goal clarity and emotional intensity, and filter the changes in your data that your conscious mind is going to receive. And that's going to tilt the odds towards wealth-aligned action. So that all begins with language. The sentence, I can't afford it, is basically a financial restraining order you file against yourself. Your subconscious says, copy that mission, canceled. And it stops looking for solutions. And so you've got to swap that for, how can I afford it? And your brain flips into builder mode. It starts scanning, solving, rearranging circumstances in your favor. One thing that helps me when I'm feeling scarcity thoughts creep in, which still happens, I have a note in my phone and I call it rich rewrites. You can do this too. You could also have it in a journal, whatever works for you. And when a scarcity phrase slips out, I catch it, I write it down, and then I reframe it. And when I do that, it's like I feel my posture literally lengthen, because confidence has a physical footprint. And you're trying to build an identity here. And identity, it outranks effort. If you walk into an appointment like an intern praying to be chosen, then the universe is going to pay you intern wages. And so I think Jordan Peterson says it best in his book. He says, stand up, shoulders back, and breathe from the diaphragm. And I do the same thing when I'm feeling those scarcity thoughts and I'm trying to rewrite them. I stand up, shoulders back, and I breathe and I say things like, I am a trusted steward of abundant capital. And I know it sounds cheesy, but if you do it and you say it, remember, you're telling your RAS what your conscious mind needs. And energy doesn't lie, guys. When prospects are out there that you're trying to get and you don't want to be paid those intern wages, then you've got to come from certainty. You've got to have confidence. In fact, I've literally watched rookie agents close 4 listings in a quarter because they're borrowing that swagger first. They're borrowing belief. They'll figure out the paperwork second, because expectation is an internal contract, not some sort of cute mood board. When you assume checks are coming, your tone softens into this calm authority. And people mirror that certainty and they say yes faster than logic suggests they should. Picture opportunities like satellites whizzing overhead, and hesitation is going to scramble the signal. The decisive belief locks that satellite dish into place. The world doesn't reward the guy who hopes, only the one who expects. And that funnels straight into decision. Indecision is the silent tax on greatness. And so you have to think of every time you hovered in matey land and watched the deal die of boredom. You need to make a new rule around it. Maybe make a 24-hour rule for money moves under $1,000 and a 72-hour rule for anything bigger, and then decide. Move on it. The universe loves velocity. It hates yellow lights. And of course, guys, motivation is going to flicker. It's going to die out. You're not going to wake up every single day ready to get out there and kick ass. But discipline is the generator that keeps the lights on when the hype playlist stops. Discipline is showing up for the ugly, uninstagrammable reps, the follow-up call nobody else makes, the spreadsheet audit at 10 p.m., the marketing tweak after the kids are asleep. And so you need to stack habits that are going to fuel those low nights, those times where you really are lacking the motivation. Maybe it's a wealth walk every morning. Every morning while visualizing deposits landing, you're out there walking and picturing it. I have a friend of mine named Josh, and he has a very successful company. He told me that when scarcity thoughts come to him, he sits down, closes his eyes, and he pictures a money tree. And the money is just falling off the tree and landing in his lap. Whatever it is, you need to build some habits. Maybe it's in the evening where you have a did it list or an accomplishment journal where you log micro wins from the day to tighten that self-efficacy loop, which we talked about last week. Those micro wins compound like interest. Every night in my journal, I write down things I was grateful for in the day, and then I write down accomplishments. Sometimes they're big, like leading a leadership meeting or landing a big deal. And sometimes they're small. I didn't kill my children before I put them to bed. Just kidding, sort of. But, discipline needs fuel, and that fuel is desire, not vague wishing, but scorching specific hunger. I will generate $100,000 in revenue by June 1st next year. And the sharper the target, the harder your subconscious lasers in on it. Desire, it turns obstacles into gym equipment, and every setback just builds more muscle. And you have to guard that fire, speak it, visualize it, feel it until it colors every decision you make. Right here, right now, you hold every tool required to become a money magnet. And those are belief, expectation that money's coming your way, decisive action, and unbreakable discipline. And if you couple all of that with this white hot desire, you're going to get there. So stop waiting for a perfect climate, stop chasing luck. Command your future today. And remember, you don't chase cash, you calibrate to it. And when your inner frequency is wealth, money's going to show up as a natural consequence of that identity. So here's your homework. Well, your wealth work. For the next few days, write down every money thought that you have or you say, and then label it scarcity or abundance, S or A, and then tally the score at night. Pick the loudest scarcity thought that you have and rewrite its wealthy counterpart. Repeat that new sentence 10 times daily. Write it in your journal. Put it on a Post-it note. Put it as the lock screen on your phone. And if you want, DM me your biggest rewrite, your abundance affirmation. My Instagram is at Brittney_Kosev, and I'll repost my favorites. What if we could just flood social media with upgraded language? So that's all for today's power session. And remember, guys, you don't just attract money, you command it. When you decide, believe, and act in alignment with who you're trying to become. Now, I'll leave you with what I always leave you with, that standing question. How do you cut the BS to get closer to your dream? Let me know, and I'll catch you next week on Cut the BS, Build the Dream.